Good morning. Thank you for tuning in to Lawana's Urban Voices. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Um, I am going I got some comments back on my story about Simone Biles and her husband, Jonathan Owens. I got a perspective back from a male viewer, so thank you so much for your comments. He said that basically women are so woke that they don't recognize that a man can be the prize. He said that women are so adamant that only they have value in a relationship, that they can only be the prize in the relationship, that we forget men bring value as well, and that a man can be a prize in the relationship. And I started to think about what he was saying because he was like, as men, we're expected to live to this woman's standards, and we expect we're expected to live to a woman's standards, and if we put standards on her, then we are being, unfair, this, that, or the other. um he said that women need to realize that when they find a good man, that he could definitely be a prize as well. It doesn't devalue the fact that the woman can be a prize, but don't discount that a man can be a prize as well. If a woman sees a man that she wants, she pursues that man and she goes after that man, then that man is her prize. That's what she was going after, and she won. If she gets the ring and becomes the wife, she won. So why do we devalue the fact that Jonathan Owen says he's a prize when Simone pursued him? And the only thing that I have to say towards that is that I don't believe he didn't know who Simone Biles was. I do believe he didn't know her. Probably she wasn't on his radar, but I can't imagine that once he saw her, that he didn't know that she was an Olympic champion. But I do understand that men can be a prize as well. Um, Another thing um, that was on the radio this morning was kind of in the same context. Is this woman was being um, she was being persecuted for she was being persecuted for saying that she treats her husband as a king. She serves his food. When he gets through eating, she takes his plate to the kitchen. She asks her husband if it's okay for her to go out with her girls, tells her husband where she's going and her expected time to come home, and makes sure that her husband is okay with everything. She says she does that because her husband treats her like a queen. And as being treated like a queen, she respects her husband enough to treat him as a king. So as she's cooking dinner for her family, she's going to fix her husband's plate first. She's going to make sure her husband needs are met. She's going to confer with her husband, talk with her husband, ask her husband if he's okay with her going to hang out with her friends. And she got people were calling in like, you are crazy. That's modern day slavery. I mean, all kinds of crazy things. And then it made me reflect. Women back in the olden days who got married and stayed married for 60, 70 years, um, did the same thing. I know that when I was a kid, I would see my aunts cooking for my uncles, fixing their plates, taking their plates to them on the TV tray. When he got through eating, she'd come back and get the plate and take it in the kitchen. That's just what she did. True enough, she was a homemaker, and I think that makes a big difference, guys, is that we work too now. We are working to better our households. So we need to figure out a happy medium. It is okay as a woman to treat your man as a king as long as he's respected and treating you as a queen. There is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with fixing your husband's plate. There's nothing wrong with serving your husband. Because if you are with a man who puts your best interests before his own, he deserves that kind of treatment. If he's loyal, faithful, and he makes sure he puts your interest, women, over his own interest, he should be treated like that. You should fix his plate. You shouldn't have a problem doing his laundry. You shouldn't have a problem, making sure that he's taken care of. Because if he has your best interest, he's doing the same for you. He's making sure that you have what you need. He's making sure that he's helping carry that load. So if you guys are both working, he's picking up, his 50%. He's sometimes carrying 60%. Um, in a marriage, it's never going to be 50-50. There's going to be days where it's 60-40, 70-30, 90-10. So in those situations, when your marriage feels lopsided, as long as there's still a partnership, then no, you shouldn't have a problem taking care of your man, even if that means cooking his meal, making sure his lunch is ready when he goes to work, whatever it takes. If your husband is treating you the way you need to be treated, making sure you never have to pump gas, making sure the trash is always taken out, he's doing the yard work, um, he is giving you a break from the kids. He's saying, hey, go get your hair done. If your husband is putting your best interest and your mental health over his, then you're supposed to put his best interest and his mental health over yours because he's taking care of you. So you should be taking care of him. I think that sometimes in relationships, we forget that it's a partnership, it's teamwork. Um, Sometimes we as women we feel the burden to take on the responsibility of being the head of the household because we haven't learned how to trust a man to be the head of the household when he can and will make the decisions that are in the best interest of the household. We're so used to being so independent on our own, we don't want his opinion, his assistance. We want to be the one that's telling him what to do. And I think it's okay um to let a man, if he has, and you got to listen to me, he's got to be loyal, he's got to be faithful, he's got to have your best interest at heart. And if he has that and he's treating you like a queen, like, I remember my aunt, she never pumped gas. Her car was always on a full tank. She never pumped gas. And I remember once asking if we can go to the gas station, and she was like, "Why? I don't go to the gas station. My that's what your uncle does." Because when we would be with my uncle and he would be putting gas in the car, we would go to the gas station and he would buy us a treat. My aunt didn't go to the gas station because she never pumped gas. So to her, she had no need to go to the gas station. My uncle made sure every time she got in her car, it was a full tank. She didn't think about maintenance of her car. She didn't think about anything. But when it was time to eat, and my aunt would have her kids, her grandkids, her nieces, her nephews, we'd be all over there. She'd make this great meal, fix my uncle's plate first. And as a kid, I just thought that's just, your uncle eats first. I never thought of it because they seem to have this understanding that that's just the way it was. And as kids, we knew we waited our turns. Once my uncle got his food, then she fixed our plates. And our plates were fixed, it'd be about 6 or 7 of us, and our plates were fixed randomly, but she fixed our plates. But my uncle got his plate first. When my uncle got through eating, my aunt went and got his plate. We had to take our plates to the sink. She didn't come get ours, but we took ours to the sink. But she did go get my uncle. And my aunt worked. She owned a beauty shop. She worked and my uncle worked. But that was just something that I saw growing up, and and being, wanting to be that kind of wife because you see it and that's the kind of person you want to be. But then you meet a man who doesn't have your best interest, who doesn't look out for you, who's not loyal to you, but he still expects that kind of treatment. So men can't expect to be treated like kings when they're disrespecting their queens. And if they aren't disrespecting you and they are treating you the way you should be treated, then women should not have a problem submitting to their husbands. They just shouldn't. And the key word, I don't know if you heard me, I said husbands. A boyfriend doesn't get that kind of treatment. A live in doesn't get that kind of treatment because he hasn't made the commitment to you to make you a wife. So when a man and a woman is living together and you guys are both working and you're splitting everything 50-50, then sometimes you're going to make your own plate. I might cook, but you're going to make your own plate. There are going to be times you're going to have to fend for yourself. I'm going to be out with my girls. You're a living boyfriend. You haven't made the commitment to make me a wife. You haven't demonstrated that I'm your queen and therefore you should be treated like my king. When you are a boyfriend and you have your apartment, I have my apartment, you don't always get wifey treatment when you're a boyfriend. And I think sometimes men misunderstand that. Um, they want the treatment that they saw, like I saw growing up, but they don't want to do what their uncles, dads, brothers, or whatever, whoever they saw doing that treatment or getting that treatment. They don't want to do what they did to get that type of treatment from their wives, not the girlfriends, but the wives. I saw firsthand in my with my dad and my stepmom. Um, They lived together for years before he married her. But when he made her a wife, I saw the dynamics in the relationship change. I saw the treatment of my dad, how he treated his wife, and my stepmom compared to how he treated his living girlfriend and his living girlfriend, compared to how my stepmom treated my dad when she was a wife, compared to how she treated my dad when she was a living girlfriend. There was a difference. I lived with them. I saw it. I didn't live with them for a long time, but I lived with them long enough to see the difference in the dynamics when you become a wife versus a live in. It's a difference. And people can say that that piece of paper doesn't matter or doesn't mean anything. And I'm sorry, it does. And when men say they're the prize, I agree. Men can definitely be the prize. Men can be as much of a prize as a woman because men will treat their queen and would treat their queen with the treatment that makes her realize I got a good one. There's not a lot of good ones left out there, ladies. Ha! Trust and believe I know that, but there are still some good ones out there. And if you are lucky enough to find a good man and you guys are, say, walking from the restaurant to the car and he gets on the side of you to protect you from the street, if he just automatically does that when you guys are walking from the restaurant to the car, he automatically gets on the side of protection without even being asking, without even thinking about it. That's just what he does. That's a good man. Well, that's a good trait. I won't go all the way with it, but that's a good trait. That lets you know that even on a date, this man is going to protect you because when you're walking, that's what he should be. He should be the protector. When you guys go out to eat and he opens the door for you and he sits facing the door so he can watch and see what's going on. So if something goes down, he got you. That's why he's doing those things. Sometimes as women, we don't catch those small things, those small traits. that men do that say that they could be a good guy. We have seen so much of the horrible traits that we forget that there are some good men out there. And ladies, I say, don't give up looking for a good man. Don't give up looking for your prize. The To my listener who gave me those words of wisdom, thank you, because we have to women have to be accountable for our actions. We have to be accountable for our words, and we have to be accountable of how we talk to men. I heard women say, "Oh my gosh, he wasn't a real man. He was a boy. He was this, he was that." And then I heard a guy say, "When I have when I'm dating a woman and she acts crazy, childish or whatever, I don't automatically say that that wasn't a woman. She was acting like a girl. I just say that woman wasn't a match for me." But women, we can get bitter and we can get mad and we start saying things like, well, he wasn't a real man, this, that, or the other, instead of taking each encounter for what that encounter is and not judging this man's behavior based on the last man's behavior because he didn't turn out to be what you expected. And we can't always degrade men because we've run into some bad ones. We got to pick better. That's all it is to it. We got to pick better. And women, when you see a man and he's married or he's living with his girlfriend, he's off the market. Leave him alone. Even if he's not married to that girl and they're living together and playing house, leave him alone. If he did make a commitment and he's married, leave him alone. Men cheat because women allow them to cheat. Because single women would be like, well, if he was happy at home, he wouldn't be messing with me. No, he could be happy at home and just look at you as a piece of meat and treat you like that. It's not worth it. So, going forward, we got to remember that not only are we prizes and worth the pursuit, if you pursue a man and you win that prize and he's a good man, then you won. And he is your prize. So I had to look at the whole Simone Biles and Jonathan Owens conversation a little bit different. I Because my listeners was like, yes, a man can be a prize. And I was like, well, I'll be. And that's the beauty of when you are out here expressing your opinion and you all, headstrong and you think your opinion is like golden. And then you get a different perspective and you're like, wow, I didn't think about that. I didn't consider looking at it from a man's perspective, mainly because I'm not a man. I don't look like a man. I don't think like a man. But hearing from one of my male listeners saying that a man can be a prize, that was that was powerful. So, ladies, we got to kind of rethink how we look at our men, um, and not be afraid to pursue a man. And if you're not his type, ladies, then you're not his type. Don't get mad. Don't get angry. Just, let it be. But if you are his type after you pursued him and he turns out to be a really good guy, then you won. That's your prize. Men, if you are pursuing a woman and she checks off all your boxes, then she is a prize and you have won. Um, and I just think that going forward, we need to have a conversation of how we can bring more, um, I'm trying to think of the right word, how we can bring a balance to this dating scene because it seems to be so um, bad right now. Women are, we're very like, triggered easily by men when they say something even if it's not, even if we take it out of context, we're so triggered that we go off. It's like, oh, this, that, and the other. And we're ready to, start with the little, like they said, with the little chicken head movements. And we want to just go off and say, he ain't this or he ain't that. But sometimes we take things out of context. But men, you also got to think about how you talk and treat women, because the dating scene is not getting easy. And you know what's really funny? It's not getting easy in any age group. The young kids, the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, doesn't matter what age group you in, dating's a nightmare. And if you don't already have your person, sometimes you think, I might not ever find my person. And it doesn't even matter what age group you're in. Sometimes you feel that way. And I know everybody wants their person, no matter what age you are. Everybody wants their person. So I say, don't give up hope. I say, let's have better conversations. I say, let's look at the, um, I say, let's look at the whole conversation with men and with women, and let's treat each other better, and let's not have all of this automatic negativity towards each other. And I do want to stop saying that, oh, that man, he was a boy, or he was a boy child, or he was a man child. No, I'm only gonna say he wasn't a match for me. He wasn't the person, he wasn't my person. So I'm not going to be looking to just to be negative towards men and say, oh my gosh, he was this, that, or the other. I'm just going to say he wasn't my person. So whoever my person is, he's still looking for me, and I'm over here. Hey, here I am. You can find me. Look for me. I'm right here. I want to make sure that we take in 2024 with a more positive outlook towards dating, towards being in relationships, towards conversating with the opposite sex, conversating with the same sex, just making sure that we have good conversations, and also realize if that's not your person, it's okay. It's okay. We don't have to be like, he ain't this or he ain't that, or she ain't this, she's just a gold digger. No, that's just not your person. So let's stop looking for negative reasons to say why that it didn't work out, and just say, hey, that wasn't my person, and it is what it is. I think that's a better attitude that we need to have for 2024. So with that being said, the whole point of this is a man can be a prize, a woman can be a prize, and you can put those prizes together, and it's like a power play. You guys have doubled your winnings. Okay? Thank you guys for tuning in to Lawana's Urban Voices. I appreciate it. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Bye.